And this week's pro tip, the thing we're going to talk about, some advice, some general advice for magicians, is this. Be early, not just on time for those performances that you are doing. You know, it's one thing to get the gig. It's one thing to get it set up, to get them to book you. But it's another thing to actually show up and do the thing and do it classy and in style. So here's a couple little notes that I put together about being on time for your performance. And actually, let's take it one step further than that. It's not just about being on time, be early. And that is something that I swear by, being early for what you're going to do. And we'll show you, or tell you rather, some details on why I think that is so important for you to remember. Overall, I think the one word that a lot of us carry with magic in general, the secrets and the art, is respect. And I think the one thing we need to remember is that when we're booked, that we should respect the people that booked us, respect the booking in general, and make sure that we give them not just quality magic, but an overall quality experience. And honestly, showing up early shows quality. Because the opposite of that, of course, is when you show up late. And when you show up late, it sends the message that the damn gig, the performance, the booking just wasn't that important to you. Of course, there's always going to be things that pop up, and we'll talk about some of those too. But the main thing is it just shows that you just really didn't value the performance, right? It's just not a good thing. As David first says, I would rather be an hour early than 1 minute late. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Ken Dum says, always give yourself more time than you need. It's about taking the stress away from the person that booked you. Absolutely, 1,000% agree there. My philosophy has always been, if you're on time, you're late. See, I like that. Be early, right? Be early. That's right. Traveling with my wife stresses me out. I'm a 15, 20 minute early guy. She's a leave the house 15 minutes before. I'm with you, Eric Elmore, 100%. Being early gives you a chance to set up a reveal somewhere in the room for a possible moment. Hell yeah. Setting up a torn corner for angle Z somewhere, for example. Absolutely. This also sets the tone. Being early sets the tone. You know, when you walk in, the client, the booker, the people, they notice you. And they notice you from the moment you walk in. So if you're walking in stressed out and you're scrambling, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. And honestly, they can feel that. So don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that person. You know, because the vibe from you should be cool, calm, and collected and ready to kick some ass, right? And it just makes the whole confidence, it just oozes confidence from you, right? Which is important. Also gives you a chance to set some stuff up, like our friend just mentioned over there about the angles, our friend Hungry and Hungover. But it also gives you a chance to test your stuff. You know, sometimes we need to test the props that we're going to use to make sure that they are show ready. You know, whether you're a close-up worker or parlor or stage, gives you time to really test out your stuff, right? Also gives you a chance if you're doing a stage show or a setup, maybe a parlor setting with lighting and music, you need that time to check all that stuff, the lighting, the music, where you're going to be performing, where the people are going to be. You need to know all those details so that when it comes time for you to perform, you have everything set up and all you have to worry about is doing a good job with the actual performance, right? So very, very important details there. Also, trying to be early helps you to minimize those last minute surprises that might pop up because you have a little bit of a buffer zone, a little bit of buffer time in between when you need to be there and when you want to start. Gives you a little extra freedom, right? To have those hiccups. You can still go in and do a good job, right? So those are important things. And at the end of the day, you showing up for this event, this booking, it's not about you. There's an event that people are there for, and you just happen to be there too. Now, there are times when there are shows that you might do a one-man show or whatever, but you are there for the clients, right? You're there for them, or the event planners, or any of the people that are there, the vendors, like you're all part of something. So it makes you as a whole easier to work with, and especially if you're working with other vendors and there's other clients and other people there. You want to be the person that goes in and does a kick-ass job so that other people will want to hire you for other events. Now, I'm not saying that you go into event X and you try to schmooze and hand out your cards to these other people. I don't recommend that at all. But going in and doing a professional job will make you more reliable, so they will want to hire you again for the client that you're working with. And it just shows them that, look, this person is no nonsense, and that's what they want to work with at the end of the day. It's just someone that comes in, does a good job. They don't even have to think about it or worry about it. You just come in and do a really, really good job. Also, this is a great point from Megan. Always ask questions and be kind to the sound and AV people. They are people too. They can make or break the event. And that's very, very true. Again, getting in early helps you to also develop these relationships with people at the event. Anytime I do something, I go in, I talk to the people that are like the vendors, the people that are running the event, other vendors, other tech people. And that way they are your allies. You need allies everywhere when you're at a gig, all right? You're just a piece of the puzzle. So it helps to be friendly with as many people as you can, because you're all trying to make the same thing happen, which is a great event, right? So important notes to remember there. Christopher says, coming early will give you less stress and adjust your show to your guest audience ages, 100%. Also gives you a chance to kind of feel things out, right? Maybe you want to try some new stuff, but this doesn't really look right, or this doesn't feel right. Gives you a chance to really assess the situation as a whole, which is good, right? And you got to remember that the magic starts before the magic starts. Before you do the tricks, there's all this other stuff going on. And giving yourself a chance to be there early and plan that really helps you make that possible. Be early, be present. And you can't be present if your mind is trying to figure out how am I going to get all this stuff ready before showtime, right? Also, you want to make sure that you have time to settle in and be ready. Okay, I'm ready, I'm good. You don't just have to jump in and go. You have some extra time to, okay, I'm ready, take a breath, get ready up here, and then you can really do a good job as a whole too, right? It also gives you a chance, as I said a moment ago, to fill out the space. Is this a high energy room? Is this a room where people aren't really talking too much and you have to bring all the energy, right? You need to be able to really fill all those little details out. And you can plan that accordingly by being there early and really understanding the whole situation. And at the end of the day, those quiet moments that you have alone before you perform are like gold. That's the time for you to really mentally rehearse what you're doing, double check everything, and just be centered and just kind of be there, right, as a whole. And there's a little bonus, a little bit of a bonus. If you're there early as well, it gives you a chance, if you want to grab maybe a little quick content, because as performers, as magicians, we are always looking for ways to promote what we do, whether it's videos of us online performing or just us being at events. So being there early also gives you a chance, if you have the time, to grab a little bit of bonus content to promote what you're doing as a whole. Maybe some behind the scenes photos or just some other stuff, little quick bits for the socials are always helpful. So real-time marketing content is also stuff you could get by being there early. I wouldn't recommend doing that when the place is busy and you're trying to take advantage of the event you're booked for, because you're paid to do a job. But if you are there early enough and there's time and there's not a lot of people around, then I say, why not? And also, as I mentioned earlier, these friendships, build these relationships with the other people that are there at the event, especially now that you have time to actually meet people and be genuinely connected and present with them as well. Because that'll definitely lead to more gigs down the road. And that's what it's all about, right? Staying busy. So at the end of the day, being on time for me isn't enough. Being early is the respect that I think that we should give to our clients and the people that have booked us, because they booked us for our time, not just for what we do, but that slot of time is for them. So we should remember that. So the next time that you do get a booking, don't just show up early, and that will also set you up for success. So there you go. As always, we try to bring you different topics each week. Last week was about pocket management. Be sure to check that out. We were also talking recently about being genuine with your audience and other topics. So be sure to check those out. They are over on our YouTube channel, and you can check out these weekly tips each week over there. And one last bit of info here, which is why I need to leave in just a couple minutes. And you never know, traffic could get bad. Being late is the worst possible way to show up. So that is important. I mentioned it earlier, give yourself that buffer time. So if there are things that pop up, including traffic, it's not going to throw you off your game, right? Especially being in a big city like Vegas. It's not a big city, but there's a lot of traffic, so it feels like a big city. You never know what traffic's going to look like. So for me, I always give myself a buffer of time to get from point A to point B, even if I'm sitting there early and just enjoying the view, sitting, in the parking lot of the Bellagio. I usually park somewhere where I have a nice view of the Strip and I can see everything. I can just sit there and kind of soak it in that I'm here because I'm doing magic for people. And traffic is one of those things that we have no control over. So give yourself a chance to beat the traffic. So if you're stuck in it, you're not ruined by it, right? So there you go. And yes, we did do a talk a couple weeks ago on how to handle hecklers. Again, watch that over on the YouTube channel. It's all about handling hecklers like a pro. So yes, we did talk about that as well. Okay, so that is this week's pro tips. Be early, not just on time.